When we think about pocket money, what comes to mind? For a lot of us, it's just another weekly chore, right? But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? What if that small, routine payment is actually one of the biggest life lessons we can give our kids? Let's dive into that.
So let's start with this question. Is pocket money just another line item on the family budget, another expense? Or could it be something much more powerful? Could it be an investment in your child's future? We're going to make the case that it's one of the best investments you'll ever make.
To really see pocket money as an investment, we first have to agree on one thing. It's about way more than just the cash. In this first part, we're going to redefine it completely. Here is the new definition. I want you to stop thinking of it as a handout and start thinking of it as a financial simulator. I love that idea. It's a safe space, a training ground for kids to learn 3 absolutely crucial life skills: patience, responsibility, and what a dollar is really worth.
So why is it so worth it? Well, first off, it teaches a fundamental truth that a lot of adults even struggle with. Money is a limited resource. When you spend it, it's gone. This simple fact forces kids to make actual decisions, to weigh their options. And that, right there, that's their very first taste of financial planning. Learning to delay gratification now for something bigger later.
Okay, so that all sounds great in theory, but how do we actually make it work day to day? How do we put it into practice? This next section breaks it all down into a really simple, actionable framework. There are just a few clear rules to this game.
It really boils down to 4 foundational pillars. First, you have to set an amount that's right for their age. Second, and this is a big one, you grant them controlled freedom. That means you let them make their own choices, and yep, even their own mistakes. Third, you help them create a simple plan. And finally, maybe the most important rule of all, you have to be absolutely consistent.
Now, a plan doesn't have to be some scary, complicated spreadsheet. What I love about this is how simple it is. The 50-40-10 rule is such a fantastic place to start. 50% is for spending now, for fun stuff. 40% gets put away for a bigger goal. And that last 10%, that's for generosity. This teaches them from the very beginning that money has multiple jobs.
And this brings us right back to that idea of consistency. When you provide the money on the same day, every single week, it stops feeling like a random reward and starts feeling like a mini salary. That predictability is what builds the habit. It becomes a reliable tool that they are in charge of managing.
Okay, let's get really practical now. How does the system actually play out on a random Saturday afternoon? In this section, we'll walk through some clear, real-world examples that really bring these concepts to life.
This chart is brilliant because it's all about setting clear boundaries. It is so important to have a talk about what their pocket money is actually for. For example, small toys, collectibles, snacks with their friends, that comes out of their budget. But the essentials, the core necessities, like school supplies, meals, clothes, that's still on the parents. Having this clarity up front prevents so many arguments down the line.
Your child is absolutely going to get their money and spend it all on the first day. It's going to happen. But listen, that's not a failure. That's the perfect learning moment. The key is not to bail them out. Instead, you use it as a chance to talk. So what could we do differently next time? And to really encourage that forward thinking, help them track their progress towards a goal. A simple, clear jar where they can physically see their savings grow is incredibly motivating.
So as we start to wrap this up, what's the ultimate takeaway here? What's the real long-term benefit of putting this simple system into practice?
This quote just says it all, doesn't it? Pocket money is a constant exercise in patience, choices, and responsibility. It's not a one-time lecture. It's a weekly workout for their financial muscles. Every single time they get that allowance, they are practicing patience, they're weighing choices, and they are taking on responsibility.
So the final question really is for you. How can you start using pocket money, not just as a transaction, but as a genuine tool to build the kind of patience and responsibility that will serve your children for the rest of their lives? Thanks for joining this explainer.